Yesterday, I was visiting my brother, his wife, and my small niece, who just turned one last month. And I have been thinking about since that when you are with small children or young children, it becomes so obvious that all of this being scared of being too much, having needs, just being difficult, and all of these things so many of us struggle with, being a burden and all of this, or even just not being enough or not being worthy of whatever it is that you want or need. And when you're with these young children, it becomes so obvious that this is not something we're born with, because when kids are little, and I think it's pretty different how old they are until they begin to become aware of this and change their behavior. But when they're little, it's so obvious that they don't have these issues at all. Because when a baby comes out, it's just like, I am totally the center of the universe, and whatever I want, I am of course worthy of it, and someone should give it to me or do that to me. So they don't care if they have been, on the arm for the entire day. They don't care if their parents or whoever is taking care of them has actually want to do something else with their hands, or they need to shower or eat or whatever in peace. They don't care. They don't care if they're difficult when they say no to the fifth food they're given this day, or if it's too much when they, cry again and want to be consoled. They don't care. They don't, of course, have this thought, this belief that they can be too much or not enough, as the case often is as well when we get older. And it's just so interesting because when we're adults, we don't have, most of us, we don't have a recollection of when this began to become an issue. We just know that it's something we picked up along the way, that at some point you got the message that your needs are a burden, or you're crying, or emotions or needs or whatever it is, that's too much. Or you get the idea that from some kind of remark, and often it's, I think most of the time, it's not meant that way. When someone says something to us like, stop crying, or, oh, you're so difficult or sensitive or picky, or all these labels we can get. Of course, they don't mean you shouldn't have any needs, but that's what we interpret it as, because we get rejected at some point, and because we don't have the experience, life experience and wisdom to know that this is not about you. It has nothing to do with your needs or your feelings being too much, or it's not because you're not good enough or you're not worthy of the thing you say you want. But that's how we interpret it, because we don't know any better. And I think when we are around young children and animals also that never grow out of this, thankfully, it just becomes so obvious that this is something we pick up along the way, and something that really harms us when we get older, because then we keep pushing all our needs down and trying to be someone we're not, or trying to not be a burden, or trying to overcompensate because we have gotten the idea somewhere that we're not enough. And it's not. I'm rewatching One Tree Hill, which I, of course, not of course, because not everyone did, but I watched when I was young as well, the first time it aired. And I saw an episode yesterday about some of these kids needing to be or spend time with a person they didn't usually spend time with. And if you've seen it, you of course know who I'm talking about, but one of the people involved in this was Brooke, the cheerleader, the beautiful one, the one all the boys, of course, drooled over because all of this. And she was talking to this other guy and was telling him about not feeling good enough, not feeling pretty enough, not feeling smart enough, or whatever enough, just not enough. And that was, and you can sit there and think, I know this is fiction, but it could be real life, and it is very often real life. And you sit there and look at these people and think, it looks like you have everything. You're beautiful, you're smart, you're kind, you're whatever. It seems like, why do you think you have anything to worry about? Why do you not feel good enough? And then people compare themselves. And I've actually had this conversation a lot with friends and family and these kinds of things, where it's so easy to stand there from the outside and think that person doesn't have anything that they should feel less than because from the outside it looks like, well, they're great and they're smart, pretty, handsome, whatever it is, and they have family and they have all of this. But that's the thing with these stories, it's never about logic. It's not something that is based in truth. It's not facts. It's just somewhere along the line, or in your past, often in childhood, you interpret something that has nothing to do with you. You interpret it as it has everything to do with you, and you're the reason why your parents get divorced, or you can't get the relationship, or whatever it is. There are so many versions of this, that it's because you're flawed. It's because you're not good enough and you're fundamentally broken. And it's just so sad because I think actually most people never get over this, because they don't really know that this is there. They don't know that it's running in the background and controlling their life completely. So they never work with it. And that means they're lashing out, or just trying to overcompensate, trying to be worthy by working harder, making more money, buying the flashy car or house or kitchen, the expensive travels, trying to just feel good enough, but never actually getting to a place where they're happy, because they never resolved what was underneath that, why they actually thought they had to do all of this, why they thought they needed to work that hard, or why they always shut off when people compliment them or trying to give them something, why they think they need to give back just from someone wanting to buy them coffee. And I can just relate so much to all of this. And it's only, I think, the past few years I've become aware of how much of this have been running my life. How many of these things I thought was my personality, that turned out to be just survival mechanisms, or trying to overcome this feeling of not being good enough, whether it's then to, go above and beyond all the time, or always being the one who reach out and take initiative to do stuff because some of your friends or are not that good at doing it, so you need to do it, and you feel guilty if you don't do it, even though they don't do it either. And you just feel the need to always do some more and feel guilty if you don't, but you still never feel good enough. And it's such a strange and hard and amazing thing to find out that all of the things, or not all of the things, but many of the things you thought was just your personality, or just you, turns out to come from these stories that you told yourself at some point, or you interpreted as you not being enough or too much. And it's just, I think it really put things, or it makes it so obvious then when you're with these young kids especially, that just has no thoughts about being too much and not enough. They just want what they want and need what they need, and there's no apology. And how amazing would that be? Not that we all just need to go around and only think of ourselves 24/7 and don't care about anyone else. Of course not. But just this thinking it's okay to have needs, it's okay to have feelings, it's okay to all the things you want or need. That's okay. That's not wrong or bad. You're not too much, and you're definitely not too little, or you're always enough, just for being you, just for being born. But when you hear that as an adult, it's just, you can often understand it with your mind, but to understand it with your whole body, that's a complete different story. But for me, it gets more and more clear that that is how it is, and that it is just stories we have told ourselves at some point, that we have just misunderstood. Or even if we didn't misunderstood, it still has nothing to do with you being too much. I have too many needs or feelings or all the things. So we really need to unlearn this, so we can have a freer life, and so we can actually get what we want and need and don't feel too much, and so we can just really feel like we're enough just for being. And that is so valuable just in itself. We're all miracles. The chance of you, exactly you, being born is next to nothing. So we're all just miracles, even though it doesn't always seem like it. It's just how much better this world would be if we all felt like we were good enough and didn't go around being so scared of our own wants and needs and feelings and all of that. So that was just, yeah. And I think I'm gonna do a whole separate video about people pleasing, because that is a very, very interesting topic as well. And I was pretty mind blown when I heard this kind of take on it. So, but thank you for listening, and I hope it resonated or you could take something away from this. And just know that you are more than enough, or at least always enough. And you're allowed to have needs and wants and everything as the rest of us. So take care and remember that. And see you next time. Bye.